In a time when survival was shaped by instinct and adaptation, primates began to reveal an extraordinary ability that marked a turning point in their evolution. In the heart of dense forests, by the edges of rivers and under the shadows of towering trees, these early beings learned to shape nature with their own hands. Their world was raw, full of danger and uncertainty, yet within that world sparks of intelligence began to glow. The first gestures were simple but filled with meaning. A branch broken from a tree became a stick used to pull fruit from high branches or to test the depth of muddy water. A smooth stone became a tool for cracking nuts, opening seeds, and accessing nourishment hidden within. These were not random acts, but decisions made with observation and memory, signs that the mind of the primate was reaching beyond instinct alone. Over generations, these rudimentary tools became extensions of their bodies. The chimpanzee, crouched by the riverbank, selects a slender twig, strips its leaves, and carefully pushes it into the opening of a termite mound. With patience, it pulls the twig out, covered with tiny insects, a meal born from ingenuity. Another primate strikes stones together, breaking them into sharper edges, discovering that one form is better than another for cutting and scraping. The primitive environment was harsh, but it was also a vast classroom. Every sound of the forest, every challenge of hunger and danger, pressed these beings to experiment and adapt. They learned not only from their own attempts, but by watching each other. Young primates followed the gestures of their elders, imitating the motions, and slowly traditions of tool use emerged. These traditions were not written in words, but carried in actions, passed silently across generations. The tools remained simple, yet the impact was immense. With each stick, each stone, the boundary between nature and mind grew thinner. The ability to manipulate the environment meant access to food that others could not reach, defense against threats, and survival in conditions that would otherwise have been impossible. The primitive world shaped the primates, but the primates, in turn, began to shape their world. In this unfolding story, we see the roots of human intelligence. The spark of creativity that allowed a chimpanzee to use a twig is the same spark that, millions of years later, would allow humans to build fire, carve shelters, and create civilizations. The forest was more than a home. It was the cradle of innovation. Every primitive tool was a step on the path that would lead from survival to culture, from instinct to reason. To witness these early acts is to witness the dawn of thought. A stick in the hand of a primate is not only wood, it is imagination, curiosity, and the first chapter of a story that continues today. The life of these beings in their primitive environment shows us that intelligence does not begin with language or writing, but with the courage to transform what is around us into something more. The story of primates and their tools is the story of ourselves, reaching back millions of years, whispering through time that even the smallest act of creation